Well, some of my first memories was my father coming home from the Baker Hotel, where he worked as the doorman, and he was talking about all Dallas' wonderful business leaders, people like Eric Johnson and people like Mr. Stemmons and Mr. Thornton, people that would come in and really exemplify the kind of leadership that Dallas had during those days. And he wanted his boy to be one of those leaders.
Albert Black was just 10 years old, living in Frazier Court's housing project in South Dallas. But he caught his dad's vision.
We wanted to be a part of the American free enterprise system.
So he started his first company.
Best Friends Lawn Service Company. Me and several friends in the housing unit that we lived in got started. And before you know it, we had cornered the market. We were the first one with the power more. And it was a real good ride up.
He started out as an overachiever, and there was a reason for that. His grandmother.
You see, she thought her grandson was great. She blessed me. And I was a little boy, maybe 6 or 7 years old. And with my 4 sisters behind me, or my sister Frances sometimes, and she'd walk us into the store and say, you know, this is my grandson, and he'll be transacting my business. Now, being a little boy, with your grandmother saying that you'll be taking care of her business, leads me to believe, let's be careful what we say to children. They may end up believing it. You see, I ended up believing that my grandmother's business affairs would be taken care of by me. And from there, I learned to take care of my own and others.
And he's been doing that ever since. He put himself through college playing football, then earned an MBA from SMU's Cox School of Business. Then he started a company in 1982 called On Target Supplies and Logistics. And a few years later, a related nonprofit headed by his wife, Gwyneth, called OTSL Charities. How much does that company give to its community each year?
We've given probably more than it would be financially responsible to do. However, that's the reason we went in business in the first place. I am very proud of the way that we've put together a team of 175 women and men that are sincere professionals, hardworking, that are making the difference in the communities that they are part of, working in the professions of their choice.
He's their role model. He spends much of his time in community service. 10 years ago, he became the first African-American board chairman for the Greater Dallas Chamber. And today, he's taken on healthcare as incoming chair of the Baylor Healthcare System Board, this area's largest hospital network. His work with Baylor started when he was volunteering with the Methodist healthcare system 13 years ago.
And Boone Powell approached me. He approached me in the locker room. We were both about to get into the shower, and it's hard to say no when you only have a towel wrapped around you. And he said, Albert, we'd like to have you. We'd like to have you over at Baylor System. And I said, well, Mr. Powell, I said, you know, I started with Baylor when I was 15 years old. I started in the main kitchen, so it'd be a homecoming for me. And so he said, well, that would make it even more remarkable for you to serve on our board.
Albert Black has usually said yes when someone called for help. His secretary answered the phone one day, asked who was calling and the company name.
And she said, my name is Ann Richard, and my company is the state of Texas. That was the governor calling. We thought that was a funny story. I started believing that my dad was onto something, that him opening the doors for women and men as they visit the Baker Hotel, that he may have been opening the door for me too, because you see, I was working with the governor of the state of Texas. I think that in our lifetime, what we've seen is a generation of people that wouldn't have even had access to the governor, to one that was traveling with the governor. And that's what we call a victory.
So tonight, we welcome to the Dallas Business Hall of Fame a laureate who never says no when community service calls, Albert Black.